Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello, I'm barely recovered, Dan, from last night. Oh, what a night. Late September 2023.
Yes.
Exeter City and you and me.
Who sings that?
Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Is it?
Yeah.
Old, high voice Frankie.
Yeah, but it was a later song, wasn't it, I think?
What, and then he ditched the falsetto by then, had he?
Yeah, I suppose he had. It
doesn't really sound like them, does it? It's a bit too kind of like... It does sound... Yeah. I associate them with a bit of an old-timey sound.
I think this was a late 70s,
Yeah.
you know, bringing it all, getting the band back together kind of thing.
Right. Sadly no longer with us.
Who, Frankie?
Oh, well, I imagine so. Is he dead?
Don't know.
So he sort of did a sort of reverse Bee Gees.
He did a reverse Bee Gees. Yeah, he did, yeah.
They started off normal and then went all high.
Yeah.
And Frankie Valli's done it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Dovetailing their careers beautifully.
Indeed.
Like Tom Carroll and... Well, I don't know.
What a game.
Anyway, we're back.
We're back.
Sister
You're
Act
back.
2, back in the habit.
What a game last night, eh?
So, yes. Yeah.
Third round of the Carabao Cup.
First round of... Last time we were in... So, I think this is... So, it's the first time since 1989 that we're in the third round of the League Cup.
Yes.
Wasn't called Carabao back then. Carabao didn't exist. Energy drinks didn't exist. They did, but they were called coffee.
Yeah. Water with a sugar cube in.
So that is energy of a fashion, isn't it? But also, I guess we got to the fourth round then as well, because today it's all first time in the fourth round since 1989.
Oh, I can't quite work it out. I mean,
Well, surely that just means we won the third round.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
And the first time we've beaten a top division team since 1981.
That's what they're saying out there.
Before I was born.
Yeah.
And before you were born.
Before we were both born.
Before we were both born. And before many of you were born, listeners, I'd imagine. Flipping nuts, innit? I mean, brilliant.
Yeah.
Also, it shows what a fallow period we've had.
Yeah, and we've had kind of... we've not done particularly well in the Cups. It doesn't really feel like we've massively prioritised them. Although I suppose under Taylor we did a bit. But it didn't really work out, but we had a go. But it's nice, isn't it?
Really nice. So Luton Town, Premier League opposition. Rob Edwards, not our Rob Edwards, managing.
No, formerly of Forest Green.
That's right.
That guy.
And Watford.
Out of his depth, is he?
Well...
I mean, it's a difficult job.
Tell you who's not out of their depth, Gary Caldwell.
It shouldn't be a difficult job playing us, but in the Premier League it's a difficult job for him, and he probably is out of his depth there, but who wouldn't be, you know? But not for Gary. It was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
It was had the kind of like, it was late night, it had the kind of special feel about it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Exciting. There was all the flags were out.
I was thinking about it.
The Stansfield banner. There's a new banner saying "We've got Super Gary Caldwell," which goes to show how much he's kind of, encaptured the imagination.
Yeah.
Or just captured the imagination. Well, no, how much people like him.
Yeah.
You know, that they've bothered to get a flag printed up with his face and name on it.
So Gary's been all over the media this last week or so. Sky Sports, 5 Live, The Guardian. And he's just saying how much he's loving being at City, which we already knew. But, you know, he's just delighted with all of it.
Yep.
And it all showed. And the players were brilliant last night. So, anyway, it was 1-0 to City. If you've been living under a rock, it was 1-0 to City. We won it in the 85th minute with a Dimitri Mitchell half volley.
I suppose it was a half volley, yeah.
And we saw it out with an inordinate amount of injury time at the end.
7 minutes added on. 7 minutes of, superb defending. But not just in that 7 minutes, just throughout the game. Everyone on the pitch played well. Every single person there was a credit to them. Some had more difficult jobs than others, but it was difficult for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
First 10 minutes or so, it looked like, they're all over us.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
But we were just soaking it up. Gary knew that. I didn't, but what we were doing. But we were just weathering a little early flurry, rightly predicting that that's how they'd start the game.
Yeah.
Just try and put it to bed really quick, and then they could do that. Then they could just knock it about for the rest of the match, I suppose. You know,
Yeah.
hit us on the break, much like Oxford did. We'll come to later on. Didn't work for them because we managed to hold off, and then so we were playing the back six.
Yeah, I know. This
for
is
the beginning.
Slightly beyond my tactical nous.
Yeah, so we're not 100% sure who the sixth member of the.
No. Maybe it was a changing sixth member.
Like, could have been Harper, could have been
Jules,
could have been Caleb Watts. I don't know. Anyway, maybe you can write in and tell us. But Colwell said in the post-match interview that he'd seen Jose Mourinho do it.
Yeah.
And it showed that to the players.
Yeah.
And then they worked on it for 15 minutes. And I thought, that's not very long to work on. A formation which has only ever been done a few times. Well, whatever. Not standard practice for many teams. But yeah, excellent. Weathered that. Limited them. They did hit the post. But Sinisala didn't have a huge amount to do.
No.
We looked a little shaky to begin with, but that's to be expected. It was a big occasion.
One hit him in the chest, didn't it? That was probably their best chance.
Yeah. Okay, right, yeah. And then we started to play.
It was quite a different lineup, actually, wasn't it? So
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Fitzwater's playing at the back.
Fitzwater's in for Sweeney, which moves Aimson out to the right side of that back three. Fitzwater right in the centre of it. Taller, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's up against...
Matey, whose name I've forgotten.
The lad they had up front, who's very tall.
Very tall.
So that looked like it made sense. Personally, it's hard to criticise anyone. I think there's things that Sweeney does in that position which he's much better at than Will Aimson.
Yeah.
The balls down the line, etc. But I'm not criticising Aimson. Played really well. And it worked. Again, all these changes did work. Caleb Watts in the middle to start with Carroll. Vinnie Harper was back in there. And James Scott started up front. And yeah, then we started getting going, didn't we? And Tom Carroll's at points, sort of reminding all those Luton players and Luton fans that he used to be a real Premier League player,
I mean, he was like 3 steps ahead of everyone at some points, wasn't he? He's like some of the passes.
He's nutmegging them. Yeah. He's doing back heels. And then we had a glorious chance. I think slightly before this, James Scott had a really good effort from about 30 yards.
Oh, he did.
Left foot.
Yeah.
That sailed just wide. And then, then our tails were up a little bit, and we started to play, like I said, and we had this fantastic move. And if the ball fell to Watts, edge of the area, and he put it about 3 times higher than the stand over.
Yeah, the BBC were reporting he hit someone's window, which I can totally believe.
Right, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah. Speaking of those windows, the people who sort of live in those flats?
Yeah.
It looked like someone was sort of shining a light out.
Yeah, it did look like that, didn't it?
What are they doing?
Were they taking photos on their phone and the flash was going off?
Maybe. I thought they were just being annoying. And then I was thinking, are they? Or is it Morse code and these people are in trouble? Maybe they need help, and that's the only way. But they can't shout, or so they can just do Morse code. Out thinking one of these 8,000 people know Morse code. So I don't know. Hopefully, if that was the case, someone did, because I don't know it. ... dash dot dot. Is that SOS?
I think it's 3 of each.
Right. Yeah. See, they could have been asking for anything.
Yes. Another feature of last night was whoever was down on Well Street hoofing the balls back up.
Yeah. No, that was just people down in the kind of like the sort of booze area, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Being
just
jokers.
Booting them back onto the pitch.
Not watching.
I mean, that's how you want to have your fun, rather than watching one of the most historic matches in our history. You want to wander down there about 25 minutes into the game and drink a warm pint out of a floppy plastic cup instead.
Yeah.
Then I can't stop you. But, whatever. We were watching a really good game, and we got to half time, and I was feeling very good about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'd Well, the first target with these kind of games is don't embarrass yourself, isn't it? Don't let it be embarrassing.
Exactly, and we've already embarrassed ourselves this week in a way,
Yes.
which again we'll touch on, but not massively.
So by half-time, we definitely hadn't embarrassed ourselves. We'd weathered the storm, and actually we had some good chances, like you said, Scott. And...
Well, we'd grown into it, and
Yeah.
I think we were kind of the better. I think we were, at least on par with them coming into the break. And I really expected a response actually at half-time for them. I thought they would get the same thing again. We get, they've had a bit of a reset. They can go like, right, okay, they're doing this actually, so let's go. And it wasn't the case. We came out the stronger second half. We were kind of straight out the traps.
Yeah, until the hour mark, I would say we were all over them, maybe pushing it, but in their half permanently, pushing, weren't we? And Kyle Taylor had a really good chance at the back post, similar place to where Mitchell eventually scored.
He did. We didn't mention that actually. Kyle Taylor started.
Oh yes.
And I think he started the.
He was captain for the Reading game, wasn't he? The Reading Papa John's game.
Yeah, but this is the first start in the kind of proper competitions. Anyway, yeah, he had a really good chance.
Difficult chance.
Yeah, I think looking back at the replay, I think he probably could have taken a touch onto his right foot, but I get why he didn't. It was there to be hit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't far off, but it's on his wrong foot. So, and luckily, it wasn't too long after that we did get in front. Before that's happened, though, Caleb Watts has gone off, injured.
Yeah.
I don't think we know too much about that one yet.
No, he was down a few times before he eventually didn't
so it
carry on.
wasn't like he's not like snapped his leg because he carried on for a bit. But so he went off and was replaced by.
Was it Will Shutt at that point?
No, it
Reece
was
Cole.
Reece Cole.
That's right.
Reece Cole.
Oh, so that was before half time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I got that bit wrong.
And then that's right. On the hour mark, Will Shutt came on for Scott, and Kite came on for Harper. It's a bit of a tactical change. And then a bit later on, Taylor went off for Sonny Cox, and Sweeney came on for Fitzwater.
Yeah.
So that's about 15 to go.
Yeah.
And we kept pushing. And Will Shutt,
who, by the way, we haven't even mentioned that is a player we've signed.
Have we not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But we have.
Yannick.
Yeah. He's played for a few teams. Once a £7 million player.
Well, he looks handy. He's obviously past his best. No, I mean, that's unfair. He's older, isn't he? He's in his 30s.
He does look good. And same with Watts, actually. We've just briefly there with this, that these were afterthoughts. These were like, third, fourth choice.
Yeah.
Maybe even players that were, they obviously would have been on our radar as players, but these weren't the prime targets.
No.
They've both come in and look pretty good so far, haven't they? And both made an impact, numbers-wise.
Yeah.
Watts scored on his debut.
Yeah.
And then Wildschut with this assist in this massive game against Luton. And they both looked really good, A lot of energy from Watts. I still haven't seen enough about him to know what he's really about. Whereas Wildschut just kind of looks like he's playing as a kind of wider option for us.
Yeah.
But probably through, and then also a bit through the middle,
So he chased down, I think I'm remembering this right, and won the ball on the far right. Kept the defender guessing, didn't he, as to where it was going, put in a brilliant cross.
Excellent cross.
Let's not forget, in goal for Luton, Tim Krul.
Yeah.
Him of absolute knobber in various penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
But the Dutch international doesn't come for it. Defender looks a bit confused.
Do you reckon he could have got it, Krul?
Well, something needed. I don't know.
Well, it comes to the defender at the back post, and it looks like he doesn't know that Dimitri Mitchell's right behind him.
No,
because he sort of just fumbles it, and Mitchell just who by the way looked well up for it, as you'd expect for a kind of the type of character he is, and a former Premier League prospect, and smashed it in,
buried it,
and then we got about at this stage, including time added on, about 15-20 minutes to go.
Yeah. Now, the referee's been annoying throughout.
It was awful.
Giving out so many yellow cards, been really inconsistent in who's getting them for what.
It really felt like to me, and this is probably a bit simplistic, that he was a bit overawed by the fact that, a Premier League team. I don't know, that's the impression I got from it. Probably not. But it just kind of seemed to so many times when they were the old tap in the back and then fall on the floor. And I know that at some point they're going to go like, well, we're going to clamp down on this like they do with everything else, you know? Like, that'll be a new thing. We're not giving them this season, you know? At the start of some season, they'll stop giving them as fouls.
You'll have 10 games where he does
Yeah, and then loads of that. He was flashing the cards out, and you know that by the sort of players he's given them to, that it's like, yeah, it's not a booking.
Yeah.
Mitchell got booked in the early on in the. Was it in the first half he got booked?
I can't remember what he was booked for.
They're both soft. The first one's a little bit more.
Clip someone's heels, is it that?
Yeah,
Right.
a little bit more of a yellow. But I mean, if you're not following Dimitri Mitchell on Twitter, he's decided to become a guy on there.
Yeah.
Or X, whatever you want, you know. And he's quite amusing. Some takes hotter than others, but you know. And he said that was the first foul he committed in the game.
Yeah.
And he got yellow for it. And it wasn't like it was like a really, really obvious yellow. I think it's one that you think, fair enough, but you'd probably want to give the player a couple of chances. If that's his first tackle of the match, or foul, do you mean? Like, it's a bit harsh. And then the second one...
So this is a minute after he scored.
Second one's just like, they kind of bump into each other. It's not... fair enough, give him a free kick for it, because it's in that area.
Yeah.
The impetus is with them. I get that. It's not a yellow card.
No,
it's mad. And then he got sent off for it. And it's... I don't know. Didn't make any difference in the
It
end.
didn't make any difference. It's such a shame. I mean, just another example of a ref doing their best to ruin a game.
Shite, aren't they? They're all shite.
I just blame the whole system. I mean, I really do.
Well, I really don't blame the refs. And I think broadly in football, I think a really positive thing they could do is pay the refs. Like, make referee salaries like 10 times higher. There's so much money.
Yeah.
And all these, like, you know, you got... More so in the Premier League, but everywhere you've got like some player sat on the bench for 35 of the games of the season who's getting paid like £500,000 a week.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do anything.
Yeah.
And then the refs, who are such a massive part of it, I don't know how much they get paid, but it's not that, you know. And it's like, just make it a really high paid thing, and then you'd get and put money into it, making it really elite all the way down the pyramid, and then those people would want to do it, and it'd be worth doing it, and they'd be better.
Yeah. I don't know how much they get either. I remember when David Ellery was ref. Remember him? And
the one they mic'd up.
That's right. And he was a teacher, and his whole thing was like, which they did, you should be paying referees the same as like head teachers, because it's the same principle. So if that's still the case, that's £100,000 a year. That's for the best referees.
Yeah.
And I think that sounds about right.
That's probably a bit more, maybe at the top level. I don't know. But
no, I don't think so.
No, maybe it isn't.
No.
I mean, it's
so that
mad,
means,
isn't it, though? Do you mean?
That means a League Two ref...
How are they not as much of the part of the match as...
Well,
like, we're not looking for, like... We don't want them to... We're not watching them score a beauty, are we? So I get why they're not being paid, like... star wages, but they're as important as anyone else on the pitch.
Yeah.
And we really want them to get all the decisions right, and yet we're not paying them properly.
No.
Well, I mean, and it's not like they're like, you know, I'm not comparing them to like striking railway workers or anything like that. Like, it's still a decent paid job, but given the amount of money that's in the game, just pump money into that side of it. It seems like, I mean,
also,
not my area of expertise, but that's how it sort of seems fairly obvious.
The other thing it seems is like, it's really like they're dealing with 22 players on the pitch, plus 10 players on the bench, plus managers, and there's 4 of them, and like one of them's got to keep an eye on everything in the middle. One's got to stay. One can't leave. 2 can't leave the line, and then one guy has to deal with all the rest. You know, they should have a team of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying all on the pitch, but like being able to deal with all the different stuff. Why you can't have, you know...
Do you remember in the Europa League they used to have the little man with the little stick?
Was that behind the goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought that made sense. Because the linesman's miles away.
Yeah.
Anything.
I
Anyway,
know, yeah.
That's by the by. But yeah, it was a real shame for Mitchell, and it could have scuppered us.
Well, yeah, because then we had that was on about...
Yeah, it was about 15 minutes left.
Yeah. But they kept putting balls into the box, and we just kept hoofing them away.
No problem.
It was great, and actually we had a couple of chances after that as well on the break. It was brilliant. And we're into the hat.
We're into the pot.
Yeah.
We're into the bowl. Colwell loving it at the end, all the players loving it. That was a really lovely moment, wasn't it? Everyone stayed to cheer him.
Yeah, it was cool. It felt like the right. It felt like it was appropriate response.
Yeah, it did all around.
Mitchell up the front, loving it. Man of the match, despite getting sent off. What a guy!
There was one of the articles that Colwell was in was the Guardian article, and it was partly about the 20 years of the trust, it was partly about him, and it was partly about the Luton game. Nick Hawker gets interviewed, favourite of the pod, and he said an amazing thing. So it was off the back of Colwell saying, honestly, it feels like I could just walk. Well, I can. I walk home from the ground. I've never been able to do that with another club. Everyone's very supportive. Even when we got beaten 9-0, people were clapping us off. Didn't hear a boo. Now, I'm sure there were some, but he obviously notices that it's different. And then you get Nick Hawker. He's like, well, of course, we own the club. And so it's like booing ourselves. He's like, you wouldn't go into work on a Monday and shout, the accounts department are crap. And I thought, that's amazing. What a bizarre and yet perfect analogy. And no, you wouldn't.
Wouldn't you?
Well, you might.
Well, you wouldn't. Well, if you owned the company, you mean?
Oh yeah, or if you worked there and you were part of it and you'd grown it, you know.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
The accounts are crap.
Well, what if they were?
Well, I think you'd supportively help them to be better.
Maybe, or you'd sack them. Yeah, that's funny.
Anyway, it was funny. It made me laugh.
Nick Hawker.
Nick Hawker. Brilliant. Anyway, what a brilliant night.
Yes.
Comes off the back of some less brilliant things, which I guess we can talk about now.
Well, we've missed quite a few things, haven't we? So, quick chronological rundown.
Yep.
We beat Cheltenham Town.
Yep.
At home, 1-0.
Who were rubbish.
They were really, really bad, and they're going to go down badly, aren't they?
They'll be down by February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.
So it was good to get a result, 1-0. Another clean sheet.
Who scored?
I've completely forgotten. Caleb Watts.
Of course he did.
Yes.
On his debut.
Yeah. Great. Kept us well up in the league positions. Top weren't we at that point, I think, still?
I think maybe it might have been at one point.
Because not many games were played. Then we had... we don't normally mention it, but it's kind of too significant, I suppose, in terms of numbers. Reading in the Papa John's.
Yeah. Is it still called that? Checker Trade.
It's not Checker Trade.
Oh.
I don't know what it is. I think it's Papa John's, isn't
Papa
it?
John's. Yeah. We got beat 9-0.
9-0. Oof.
Off Reading. And loads of children played.
Yeah.
That's bad, isn't it? I mean, like I said, I don't want to be in it.
No.
I want to lose, but it's bad. I think that's overstepping the mark,
I mean, if those kids learned from it, then the purpose was fulfilled. 9-0 just looks awful on paper, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it just it's not good, is it, for the kind of vibes?
No. Thankfully.
But what is good for the vibes is winning in the third round of the League Cup against a Premier League team. So vibes have levelled out again. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned.
Vibes galore.
Yeah, well, not galore. There's a decent amount of, a decent amount of them. The pint is 5/8 full.
5/8. An appropriate amount of vibes.
Yeah.
Vibes appropriate. Okay, good. And then Saturday we were away at the Kassam. Blurg.
Yes.
Place of many memories, of course, but bad ones Saturday. We got beaten 3-0. Definitely didn't deserve the 3-0.
Oh, we very much did deserve it. We deserved it because we deserved to concede all three of those goals. But,
Fine.
Yeah, based on the performance, the scoreline looks worse than it probably was.
2 penalties.
Based on how well matched the performances were between the two sides. Yeah. So the game's done as it turned out.
Yeah.
By the first goal that we concede.
Yeah.
It's injuries, isn't it? And I know you can't excuse everything with that, but Harry Kite played right back. He hasn't played for 6 months.
Yeah.
He's not a right back.
No.
And he has to play right back.
Yeah.
And that's because Rankin's out and because
Harper
Ilmari's out.
And
Harper's just returning to fitness. He's not really a right back either, but he probably would be better at it than Harry Kite.
Yeah.
Kite didn't get anywhere near close enough to his man. ball comes in, they're 1-0 up in the first half, and then
first 10 minutes, wasn't it?
and then it's straightforward for them from then, because we've got to chase the game then. And Oxford play in a similar kind of way to us, like to keep the ball. It was just, and then we were chasing the whole time. And then what happens when you're chasing the game? You have to commit more people forward. You get caught on the break. Will Aimson gave away 2 penalties.
Yeah,
They were both penalties. They both should have been given as penalties. But if they weren't penalties, then they quite well could have been goals. That it just anyway, because that's the situation we were in, that we were kind of pushing to try and equalise.
Yeah,
but we gave away the soft goal to begin with. But like I said, we're missing players badly, aren't we? And we've got really unlucky with the injuries so far. We've also lost Ryan Trevitt. He got injured in that game. He's going to be out for, apparently it's good news that it's something that he's done something bad to his ligament, but that's good apparently.
Okay.
Corbell didn't understand it either.
Right.
Apparently it is. He said it's the same as the one Kyle Taylor got in pre-season. When he's like back to fitness.
Yes.
So he was like 2 to 4 weeks basically for
Okay.
Trevitt, which is, he's been excellent for us.
Yes.
He's very important. Luckily, that's one of the positions that
Yes.
we've actually got. I mean,
some depth.
Caleb Watts then also got injured. He's another one in that kind of position. So we're losing them, but we have still got Reece Cole. Jules can do that.
Jules can play anywhere, can't he?
Utility man.
He's amazing.
Another utility man in
When
football.
he came, I thought, he'll be centre back, big lad.
Yeah, me too. I thought left hand side of the back three, Alex Hartridge kind of competition for places kind of thing. And I thought maybe he might do a bit of wing back as well when we're kind of like defending.
Yeah,
Just play him wherever.
he can do anything.
He's got it all, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really
Jules?
has.
He can play anywhere. He's got a cool name, and he's a very handsome man.
Yeah.
I look forward to him becoming a kind of club legend.
So, what's true of loads of these players? They just quietly go about their jobs, don't they?
Yeah, he's actually not particularly eye-catching, is he? Do you mean
No.
But he's got a lot. He's got a lot going on.
Bosh.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. And then, of course, with last night, the vibes are maintained appropriate, maybe a bit further. Maybe they've gone up to 6th.
Well, it's the most recent game, isn't it? So
Three quarters.
Sorry?
I'm saying that 6/8 is the same as 3 quarters.
I said 5/8.
Yeah, I'm saying we've gained.
Oh, I
an
see.
eighth.
You've gained an 8th.
I'm wondering.
A Henry.
Different kind of 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're up 1 Henry than we were on Saturday evening.
Yeah, we'll carry on this now. We're gonna do the whole season in 8ths.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, which Henry are we? Henry the First? No, Henry the Seventh. Yeah. Well, it was. Well, I don't want to go on about it too much, but it was absolutely lovely stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you need little moments like that, and we're not gonna. We've got what looks like an excellent kind of thing going at the minute. I mean, it's a lot better than I think people thought it was going to be when we kind of lost Matt Taylor kind of against everyone's wishes. Because he was doing so well, he moved on. It wasn't like we've got to change something.
Yeah.
I think it's turning out to look like a really good move all round.
Yeah. Maybe not for him.
I don't think anyone's... No, maybe not for him, no. I don't think anyone's kind of worrying about... particularly at this point about kind of getting drawn into a relegation battle. It might happen still if things can change, and we'll worry about that when it happens. But right now, a significant amount of the way into the season, it's kind of this. We haven't got to think about that right now. We can think about what is happening, which is good performances, results, and then we're probably not going to get automatic. We're probably not get in the playoff places, but already we've started the season well. We look solid. The injuries are a worry. The squad's a bit thin. But we've got this kind of extra thing of we're having a cup run, which none of us have, in this competition, haven't really experienced in our lifetimes, a lot of us, and haven't really had since the kind of Man United saga, but 20 years ago. So it's an extra thing that's been brought in, and that's come about because of the everything that's happened to bring us to this point.
Absolutely. I mean, just in terms of thinking, realistically, we've played 9 games, but we've got 16 points. Like, if 50 points is what we need, we're basically it's all fractions today, listeners, but we're basically 1/3
How many
of
eighths
the way
is it?
there. Well, 16 goes into it is 2 times 8, of course. But I think we're moving across our fraction.
I don't
tables
understand it, but I only want to hear about things in eighths.
Oh, right, we're 2 Henry VIII.
Right, good.
Um,
Who was Henry VIII's second wife?
uh,
Divorced, beheaded. It was
Anne
one of the beheaded ones. Boleyn, was it?
Yeah,
Anne Boleyn.
the most notorious.
Yeah, she was a sort.
I mean, it's easy to blame Anne Boleyn, but
I'm
I
not
think
blaming her.
Henry's the one. He's the real sort.
Yeah, of course. Everyone knows that. I'm just out of all of his wives, she's kind of like, one
Yeah,
of the main ones.
yeah.
Chopped her head off, of course.
He did.
Not something we see much of this day and age.
No.
Thankfully.
I mean, I, for one, am pleased about
It does still happen to the odd, journalist, doesn't it, in certain parts of the world? But thankfully rare.
I mean, do we count as journalists? Because I don't want to be beheaded.
Well, do you not?
What are we?
Nothing.
What is this?
Not journalists. We're nothing.
We're podcasters.
Yeah, which I don't like, and I think we should stop it immediately.
Recording artists? You want to stop the pod live on air?
Well, it's just I've only just thought about what it is we're doing, and I think I hate it.
Okay, good. You and many others.
No, we're just nothing, aren't we? We're not journalists. I mean, I don't think we've said anything worthy of being beheaded. Anyway.
Well, now you're blaming the journalists for getting beheaded. This is
This
victim blaming of the highest order.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, no one deserves to be beheaded, least of all Anne Boleyn.
Yeah, but I mean, she didn't know. Of course, she was the first to be beheaded. I'm just saying, like,
Whatever, don't think so.
No, by Henry.
Oh right, I see. Oh, you see, she didn't know what she was getting herself into.
She didn't know.
Yeah, because the one before just got divorced.
She just got divorced. She couldn't have children.
What was she called?
Catherine of Aragon.
Right, another big one.
Famously stayed in Exeter one night and had the weather vane shot down
Really?
because it was squeaking. Yeah.
Shot down.
Or whacked off. Probably not shot down. Probably whacked off.
Right.
Not like you're thinking.
Ever heard of earplugs, Catherine?
I don't know if she has.
Right. I mean,
I mean, if you're queen
Diva.
to be, yeah, well, you can do what you want if you're queen to be. If you're marrying Henry VIII.
So you think if the Queen
She's
turned up
married now.
now? Yeah. No, she's dead. But if the
Camilla
turned up now, she's staying at. Well, it won't be the
Hotel
Royal,
Leonardo.
won't be the Royal Clarence, will it? Because that's
kaput.
what's the best hotel now? The old eye hospital.
Yeah. what's that
Hotel
called?
Divan.
Hotel Divan.
She's staying there.
Yeah.
She can hear a little squeak of a weather vane up on the roof.
Mm.
You think that they're going to go like, "Oh, sorry, Camilla, we'll go and knock that off."
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think they would. I think they'd go like, "Sorry about that. Maybe stick a podcast on so you can't hear it."
Yeah. And if you're looking for an Exeter City themed podcast, I can recommend one.
Yeah.
It's called My New Football Club.
It'd be really interesting to know, actually, if Camilla Parker Bowles does listen to this podcast.
Camilla, if you're listening,
Yeah.
get in touch.
Yeah. Maybe Svetlana Martin, my email correspondent, was really a kind of nom de plume
I'd forgotten about Svetlana.
for Camilla Parker Bowles. Is she still called that?
No, she's called Camilla Windsor, presumably.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose so.
The other night, I was snoring. My wife said, you should go and sleep in divan. And I went up the hotel divan. I got the wrong end of the stick. Anyway, more about this in a minute. Welcome back to the Big Bank Theory podcast. Remember, you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways, at Big Bank Pod on Twitter, X. Do we have to call it that now?
Yes.
Right, that. BigBankPod@gmail.com on email, and Big Bank Theory podcast on Facebook as well. Thanks to Steve Mead who got in touch. he was obviously inspired by our chat about the Wellhouse skeleton.
Any relation of Paul Mead?
Who's Paul Mead?
My old boss from when I worked at Debenhams in 2001.
Don't know. Let us know, Steve, if you're any relation. Or Paul. This is weird. So he lives in... This is brilliant, by the way. He lives in the Yukon, which is North Canada.
Yes.
So good to know someone over there is listening. And it's minus 40 in the winter, right? And some people... He doesn't say where this is, except for general Yukon, can have the sour toe cocktail, which is a shot of whiskey with a mummified toe as a garnish.
Right.
And some people have swallowed them, he's given us the air quotes, by mistake.
Is this a human toe?
Presumably it's a mummified human
This
toe.
that can't be legal. Can it?
Don't know. What happens in the frozen wilderness stays in the frozen
Well, I suppose
wilderness.
it'd probably happen a bit more often, isn't it? Because frostbite will be more widespread
Yeah,
than it is in, Europe.
yeah. He's wondering if he's the coldest fan of our podcast ever.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, is there anywhere colder on Earth? North Pole? Where is the coldest place on
Well,
Earth?
the Yukon is it's on the way to the North Pole, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's on the way to the North Pole.
I suppose that's true.
All roads lead to Flambards.
Yes. Is there anywhere colder? Don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone knows, if anyone's been anywhere colder than the Yukon or listened for anywhere colder, we're still in the charts. Someone's listening in Ukraine. I realise it's not as cold as the Yukon there, but there we are.
The coldest place on Earth is East Antarctica Plateau.
That's the wrong end.
It's at a bone-chilling minus 144 degrees Fahrenheit, or for, our Celsiusites.
Yes.
Celsiites.
Celsius, yeah.
Um,
Don't they play at Stamford Bridge? Celsius.
yeah. Celsius.
Carry on.
Celsius. Minus 98 degrees, that is Celsius.
All right, oh yeah,
So
beats you then,
twice
Steve.
as cold and more.
What are you moaning about?
It's basically hot, really, the Yukon, isn't it, compared to this?
That's a mummified toe. That's weird.
Yeah, so we were trying to see if you... That's the closest anyone's come, apparently, to seeing a skeleton.
No one else has been in touch about skeletons.
Yeah, we still would quite like to hear about them, but don't worry about it if you haven't seen one.
A theologian from the university has also been in touch about our new hashtag RipFat.
Right?
And he's suggesting that if you believe in the day of judgment from God, then you won't rest in peace for all time. You'll rest in peace for all time until the end of the world.
At which point, what happens?
Well, it's the end of time. So...
Well, then that's it. Is it nothing?
I don't know. Depends on your theological viewpoint, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So it's good we're getting these highbrow, two ends of the spectrum there. Someone questioning philosophically whether you can rest in peace for all time, and someone who's eaten someone else's toe.
But wouldn't it be the end of time? Then whoever has died has rested in peace for all time.
Oh, yes.
Because at the end of time, that's it. You've
Completed,
done it.
and then you do something else once time's over.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with something else when that happens, I suppose.
All right.
What could we have instead of time?
It was different when you're outside of time, I suppose. Time's a construct, or not a construct, but it's part of our universe.
Yeah, I don't know what we'd do.
Bewildering.
Yeah.
Feels like it sometimes. When they put up that board for 8 minutes of added time, you think, no.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Anyway.
And it's starting to feel like this with this podcast, probably, if you're listening to it.
It is. We're only 39 minutes in.
Oh, are we? Okay, right, yeah.
So don't worry about it.
We can get more into the subject of time and space.
Yeah, if you'd like that, let us know. Talking of Armageddon, anyway, as we were, a place that makes you wonder if it's time for the destruction of the entire universe. They're coming to City on Saturday. It's Northampton.
Right, yeah, they are.
So, I mean, we always hate playing Northampton because obviously played them on and off for years, haven't we? Playoffs, obviously Wembley being the most recent awfulness. But even before that, it was years of, it's flipping Northampton again. They're going to beat us.
Yeah, it's been a bit. We've crossed paths a lot. I guess we're a similar kind of type of level.
I suppose we are. Now, they've lost the last 5.
Yeah, they're having a bad time.
Now, I don't know. You don't want to. I still wonder where our goals are coming from. We still need the Admiral to appear. He's not on the bench. Apparently, Aitchison was warming up last night. I didn't see him.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good news. Admiral, who knows?
I mean, what have we had out of him? 20 minutes?
If that. But I would like to see some more from James Scott.
I mean, he's a funny mix.
I thought he did a good. Yeah, he is. But I thought he did a good job last night.
No, he did.
You can't pump up long balls to him because he refuses to jump.
Yeah, he's got that kind of Bowman Stockley kind of either won't jump or jumps weirdly thing.
He just doesn't jump for anything and sort of like makes the defender jump on him.
Yes. But doesn't win anything because he's big.
No, but he's good with it. But when you do play the ball into his feet, he can do something with it, you know?
Yeah.
And he came close to scoring last night would have been a beauty. And he's obviously coming back to fitness. I want to see more of him. So I'd like to see Scott starting again. And then maybe, hopefully, Musquay isn't too far off. We're hopeful about some of the others, injury-wise. I'd like to see Harper play again.
Yeah.
I know he's not 100% fit. Colwell mentioned that you had to out of necessity, had to play him and manage him and bring him off. But I thought he looked excellent last night. He played so well. And
he's very quick, isn't he? I think he's the quickest of the bunch.
There's a lot of quick guys out there.
Yeah.
What about Rankin? Isn't he supposed to be the quick one?
Maybe.
Either way.
He really flies though, Harper.
Yeah. And it's an opportunity, isn't it, to get another win, you know, given the form.
Yeah.
I know we're in the league, we're a bit up and down form-wise at the minute, but we've got this bit of momentum from this big win.
Absolutely.
And we'll see tonight, won't we, who we get in the draw for the 4th round.
Very exciting. So it could be Manchester. I mean, it could be Port Vale.
Yeah.
Mansfield won last night, didn't they? Christy Pym saved some penalties.
Yeah.
Against Peterborough.
Against Darren Ferguson.
So obviously we could have some kind of draw like that. I think Lincoln and Ipswich, they still go in?
Yeah, they're playing tonight. Yeah.
Right.
So there's 4 or 5 teams that you'd be like a bit gutted about. But at the same time, you know, if we draw Port Vale or Mansfield, then we've got a good chance of getting into the 5th round.
Yeah.
Is there a 5th round? Yeah, there is,
Yeah. I mean, it's mad, isn't it?
But still, I would much rather have one of the big teams, and there's loads of them in there, you know, most of them are still in. Coldwell wants one at home. Don't we get more money if it's away, though?
Well, if it's a bigger ground. I think it's split 60-40.
Right.
So Middlesbrough won last night. Ipswich won last night. Mansfield. Port Vale. Burnley. Manchester United. And then tonight...
there's loads tonight, isn't there?
There's loads tonight, but obviously lots of the big clubs are still in there. Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, West Ham, Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, Villa, Everton are all still in it. Flipping heck. I'd love it. Home or away.
Well, there's more chance. There literally is more chance of getting one of them. But, yeah, it could well just be Port Vale away, couldn't it?
Or it'll be something slightly...
Yeah,
Blackburn,
Burnley.
Cardiff, you know, which would all be interesting, but
yeah,
it's not. We just don't do it often enough. So you're always kind of
come on,
gagging for the big one.
One of the big ones. I mean, I'd be gutted if we got Cardiff. I won't lie.
Yeah. Who would you, if you could have any of them? Would it be home or away?
I think for the narrative, you got to go for Man United.
Oh yeah,
because of it being 20 years,
and we'd have a good chance.
And
yeah.
Well, we were. Yeah. You never know, do you?
I mean, Man City, we ain't got a good chance.
No, but I think that's the one I would choose.
Is it? I'd love to go to the Emirates. Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. You know. Anyway, who knows? Next week we'll be back talking about Mansfield, of course.
I know. But
so,
yeah.
Anyway, Northampton. Hopefully we can get there. They came up last year, didn't they?
Yes.
Struggling. I think they've only got 8 points or something. Yeah, lost the last 5. If we get this win, because actually we're 6th in the table. Obviously we were top, and if we'd beaten Oxford, we would have stayed top. But it's very tightly packed together. And what we haven't got this year is the old massive clubs lurking behind us. You know, it's all fairly much of a muchness.
It is. And all we can do is just kind of pick up the points where we can, you know? And this is as good a chance as any to get 3 points.
Well, if we can have 30 points by Christmas, which isn't by any stretch of the imagination impossible.
No, I mean, difficult, but that would be amazing, yeah.
There's only 4 wins, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. We'll be back next week to talk about the draw and Northampton and all the upcoming games.
Yeah, week after that, who's that? Doesn't matter.
Week after that, who's that? Another home one, isn't it? I forget.
No.
I think we've got loads of home games, haven't we? I tell you what I did do this weekend, Dan.
Tell me.
I went to... Yeah, it's Barnsley at home.
Oh.
I went to the women's match at St James Park.
Ah, yeah, you did, didn't you?
Moneyfields. They
Oh,
played.
we got Charlton away as well on the 3rd of October.
Of course we do. Oh, so we'll be back after that?
Yeah.
Right.
Bit later next week.
Yeah, it was good. Good to see.
It wasn't it some mad scoreline like
5-3.
5-3.
So we were 2-0 up.
Who are they playing?
They're called Moneyfields. It's a Portsmouth team.
Moneyfields.
Yeah, it's weird. So it
Okay.
used to be Portsmouth Civil Service. I was looking it up. And their women's team is kind of equal to the men's team. So they kind of invest in both equally. So it's quite interesting.
Right.
They're about the same league as Tiverton, the men's team. So the women's team are actually, got a better chance. They came up last year.
This is a league game, was it?
League game, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So City looked good. And then we kind of got a bit sloppy, 2-0 up. The other team came back into it, and then they punished them 5-3 in the end. Packed Doble stand, 1,500 people.
Excellent.
So it was good.
That's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, nice to see them using the ground, and it's such a different crowd. It's young women that are
Right.
there watching, and great to see that. Different facet to what the club can do and whatever.
I still don't like them putting the home and away fans in together, if I'm honest. but-
No, I mean we're not far away from not doing that, but I'm going to see Moneyfields probably bought 15 people.
Yeah, so stick them in the away end.
Yeah, well, we do it for the men.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.